Welcome to a new episode of G.W.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. We'll give a big shout out to Matthew Briggs for the help with that intro. I think that intro came out real good. So
Yeah, I love it.
shout out for that. Finally have an intro for the show for all the shows now. It's moving up a little bit.
Trying to.
no, I had quite a bit going on in the wrestling world the last couple of weeks, and we haven't done a show in a couple of weeks with me being sick. And I think one weekend you were out of town, got back late on that Sunday. That's when I started getting sick, was that Sunday. And then the next Sunday I was still feeling bad. So
Yep, that's true.
finally back at it. But well, you want to start with the show reviews, and then I had a couple things after that as well.
Yeah, I've got a few things too. So I got Monday Night Raw. We'll start off with Riddle kicked off the show. Orton's not on. They say, I don't know if it's true or not, but I read some stuff today that Orton's being seen by a back specialist. I don't know
heard
if that's
by a neurosurgeon and a spine specialist.
I don't know if that's storyline driven or to keep him off the air, or if it's true. So I'm not real sure on that. But we had Riddle come out, did a real good promo, real serious promo from him, pretty much, and had Riddle and the Street Profits take on the Usos and Sami Zayn. It was a real good match. Riddle and them got the win. Real solid match, way to start off the show. I really liked it. Then we went from there. We had a count out victory for MVP against Bobby Lashley. And the stipulation was if MVP won, he got to make the match stipulation for Hell in a Cell, and he's making that a 2-on-1 match. So it'll be him and his big guy, which I was having a brain fart, almost against Lashley at Hell in a Cell next Sunday. Did you get to see any of the show?
I saw a little bit of it. I haven't seen all of it. I still need to go back and finish watching it.
From there, we had Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest against AJ Styles and Liv Morgan. Had another pretty strong match. Rhea and Damian Priest got the win with Edge's help. Loving the presentation with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest and Edge. I like what they're doing with that. I think it's a strong act. I'll talk a little bit after get done reviewing Raw, but I like what they're doing there. Then we had Cody Rhodes against The Miz. Seth Rollins attacked during the match, and Cody Rhodes. So Cody won by disqualification. I tell you, that's the first flaw I've seen in the Cody Rhodes thing. Was the story part was good. That was fine. But Miz, for whatever reason, the Miz and Cody Rhodes did not connect that day, man. They had a lot of mistakes during the match. It didn't look real good. Not a horrible match, but you could just tell they weren't on the same page for whatever reason. Next, we had Ezekiel against Chad Gable. Again, Ezekiel got the win, but Ezekiel week to week just keeps getting more over with the crowd. It's really wild, and I'm happy for him. He had a lot of starts and stops, and hopefully this is going to stick. I'm not exactly sure what his character is going to be, what it is supposed to be, but the fans like it. I like it. He kind of tries to look like a little bit of a knockoff with the Ultimate Warrior with the trunks he wears and the the bands on his arms and stuff. But it seems to be going pretty well for him. Then we had a main event of Becky Lynch and Asuka. If Becky won, she got to be added to the Hell in a Cell match at the Hell in a Cell. She got the victory over Asuka. Got a roll-up victory. It was a pretty good match. I think that'll be a good match at Hell in a Cell with Becky Lynch and Asuka and Bianca Belair. So that should be a strong match there. And Raw was okay for me. It wasn't a bad show. It was just decent. But the thing I was going to say about Raw is what I am liking. People, you can't win. You get people complain about Roman Reigns, everything's about Roman Reigns. Well, it seems like they're trying to take a little bit of a step back. I mean, they're still, don't get me wrong, he's still the big star. They're going to use him in spots and stuff and everything. But they're trying to make some other stars with Ezekiel, with Riddle. I think they're going to, with Orton being off TV, I think Riddle is going to get the opportunity to take a step up. They're trying to make Lashley a big baby face. Definitely Cody Rhodes is kind of the face of Raw a little bit in a way right now. So they're making an attempt to do that, and people want to bitch about it. I think they're doing the right thing. Like I said, they can't win for losing. You know, they'll either say it's all about Reigns, or why ain't Reigns on the show? So you can't win for losing.
Yeah. People are gonna complain no matter what WWE does.
Yeah, that's true. Next, moved on to NXT. The show opened with a little recap of the feud of that's going on with Legado del Fantasma. They opened up the show, and of course they're feuding with that tagging group over there, and that group, Troy Donovan and Channing Lorenzo, had a match with Malik Blade and try to pronounce his name, Idris North, and it was a pretty good match. And I liked it that they opened the show with new talent. All four guys are pretty new, especially Donovan and Lorenzo. It was a good match. I like the way it went. Donovan and Lorenzo got the victory, but it was a solid match. There we had after that we went to an interesting matchup. The great big about, I'm not sure how tall he's, about 6'8", 6'9", Sangha took on Wes Lee, who of course lost his tag team partner, and they're trying to build Wes Lee back up. And it was a really good match, solid by both guys. Wes Lee helped make Sangha look like a big monster. It was really good, and actually both guys ended up getting over during the match. So I really liked it. Looked like Sangha may end up being a babyface, so too. So it was a really solid match. There we had, after that, we had Elektra Lopez taking on Alba Fire, and really good match. Alba Fire is a veteran. Of course, she had a name change, so but she's the one that she had the belt for a long time in the UK, and Lopez, so she's getting a lot better. Fire got the victory, but it was a really solid match, really good match. From there, we had the semifinal breakout, ladies breakout tournament, semifinal match. Lash Legend against Roxanne Perez. Perez got the victory. I think Perez is going to be a huge star in WWE. I worry a little bit about her size because she's not huge. You know, she's a pretty small girl, but I think she's going to be a huge star. And Lash Legend, who's ex-NBA player, WNBA player, also put big star in college. She's getting better. It's taking time. She's slowly getting better, but she's definitely showed some improvement. It was a solid match.
I've heard a lot of good things about that match, about that Perez and Lash. A lot of people really like that match.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was a really strong match. Tell you another match that was really good on the show was Tiffany Stratton in the breakout semifinal against Fallon Henley. That was a really good match, and that Stratton has got so much better. I tell you, the women wrestling. I'll go ahead and go to this next women's match. You can see how many women's matches were on the show. Next was Mandy Rose against Indy Hartwell. Another really good match. And before I go to the final match, the main event, that was really good. Tiffany Stratton match was. But they featured, 2 weeks ago, they featured 15 women during the show. They featured 14 women during this show. I mean, they're doing a great job. And they're still featuring their guys, too, don't get me wrong. They're doing a lot of backstage segments, giving a lot of them a chance to get on and do interviews, trying to get more comfortable. I think NXT is doing a really good job.
What do you think about the? Well, go ahead and do the main event first.
Okay, okay, we had Braun Breaker against Duke Hudson. I like that Duke Hudson. He's a big dude. I wish they could just find the right. Not that his character's bad, but they need to find a way to get him over. It was a good match. He got the win by Braun Breaker. Gacy's playing mind games and caused Breaker to lose his cool. And he tried to hit Gacy with a chair, but he hit Duke Hudson. I like Gacy's character too, but most people are not liking the Breaker and Gacy feud and want it to be over with. So we'll see where it goes from there. But what was you going to say?
Well, I was going to ask you what you thought about the Gacy and Braun storyline that they're building.
I like Gacy. I like Breaker. I don't know. I'm not sure. The jury's still out for me. Most people don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people complain about it, but
I think Breaker's going to be a huge star. I think Gacy's got the capabilities of being that evil character and could go somewhere. But like I said again, most people they've done a lot of kidnapping things. I think it's been more the story they've been given that's not working than it is the two guys. I think both guys got huge up. Breaker's got a huge upside. I think he's going to be a huge star. I think Gacy's got a huge upside. I think they just got to use him correctly and give him better material. That's just my opinion. But I really like NXT. I like what they're doing right now. They're really pushing the women. They're giving a lot of people, young people, a chance. They're going to have a premium live event on June 4th on a Saturday night that looks pretty decent. It's going to be in your house. So I like what they're doing right now. Next, we go to the AEW Dynamite. Started the show off with CM Punk and Adam Page face off. Did you get to see any of that?
yes, yeah, I saw some of it.
What'd you think?
Oh no, I just ain't been able to get behind CM Punk since he's came back. Yeah, he's just not the same.
Let me ask you a question. Most fans for AEW they want CM Punk as champion. Most people think CM Punk's gonna come out of this champion. Do you think that's the right move?
I don't think so. I think I'd try to build up one of my younger stars because you brought CM Punk in, and it really didn't bringing him and Brian in the way they used them. It didn't really grow the company none. So
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Is putting the belt on him really going to help CM Punk, where it could help one of the younger guys a lot more. CM Punk don't need a belt. He's already a made man, already popular. He don't need a belt he don't need the belt to be at the top.
See what you think of this idea that I have. For AEW to grow, there's a couple of different ways you can grow and go slow and right now I think they've took a little step. They're not a big step, but a little step back, and they're having trouble getting that traction to take that next step. Like I said, they brought in Daniel Bryan and those guys, and a lot of people thought that was the next step, and it didn't work for whatever reasons. It didn't work. WCW, when they made it big, they brought over Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, and of course Hogan switching. They caught light in the bottle, and boom. What do you think about this idea? I would have CM Punk win the title from Adam Page, and then I would have Wardlow get the title from CM Punk and push Wardlow to the moon.
I like that idea. They need to push one of their younger guys. They really do. And like I said, CM Punk doesn't need the belt. He's already a made man. He don't need the belt to be able to be one of your top guys. Where if you build Wardlow up and put the belt on him, I think he could gain a lot of traction.
Well, right now in AEW, who's hotter than Wardlow? I mean, really, MJF and Wardlow, I think they're two hottest commodities right now.
Oh, I agree.
So, or you could have MJF win the belt and Wardlow get it from him. But I think you got to do something. You can have Punk turn bad guy and have a big feud with Wardlow and him, or you could have Wardlow destroy CM Punk.
Yep.
And have MJF chase after Wardlow for the belt. I mean, I think that they should be a little further along with all the talent they've signed and everything.
Yeah, one of my problems, I think they're signing too many people at a time, and they don't know what to do with everybody.
Yeah.
How's it going, Rob?
What's going on, brother?
Yeah, not much.
I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. I was enjoying what I was hearing.
What do you think about that? What do you think AEW needs to do to take that next step?
I honestly agree with Chris when he said that I think that they're signing too much people, especially because I hear rumors that if things are real with Sasha Banks, they might sign her, which I think would be a nice pump up to their women's division, but I think they need to slow down on signing people, especially people that already kind of got a name, because I
Yeah,
think that kind of defeats the purpose of AEW, and then they become a B tier show because they pretty much have the superstars that WWE let go of.
yeah,
So I think they need to stop with the big name signings. If you're gonna sign some people, bring us some talent like they've been doing from like New Japan, from like Ring of Honor, people that normal wrestling fans might not know. The casual wrestling fan. Like I like the Samoa Joe signing, just because of his TNA background. And I like Jay Lethal and things like that. But when you trying to sign the Dean Ambroses, the Chris Jericho's, when you sign too many of them people, it kind of waters the product down,
yeah. It
in
can.
my opinion.
I don't I don't think they'll get Sasha Banks. I heard an interesting conversation with Tommy Dreamer and Billy Ray last week on one of the shows on Busted
Okay.
Open, and Tommy Dreamer says he knows the WWE contracts really well, and he says that that contract of Sasha Banks is frozen, and time will be
Um,
added to it, and if WWE don't want her to, she will never wrestle again.
mm.
If they want to hold her to her commitment, unless she goes back and finishes her commitment and finish out her contract, she will never wrestle again. WWE has that power, is what he claims.
I believe it. Because those contracts are ironclad,
Yep,
especially if you've already received incentives
yep,
for different things. Yeah, we've already begun to pay you. You got to finish that out.
yep,
I understand that. Thank God, she started her second career in acting,
yep, yep,
being in the Mandalorian and things like that, and she already had a name for herself due to the fact that she's Snoop Dogg cousin. So I think
yeah,
Sasha will be okay in whatever route she goes in, but I can understand the frustration with the creative side from WWE because right now, other than what they got going with the bloodline, there's nothing really exciting happening in WWE right now. In all honesty.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, the bloodline is definitely the big thing, no doubt about that.
Yeah,
The bloodline's the hottest thing in all of wrestling.
in all of wrestling, and that's
Yeah,
just what it's funny. People just love a good bad guy. It
yeah,
just took for Roman Reigns to get. I think adding Paul Heyman to him was genius.
yep,
I've always said that Paul Heyman has one of the best, if not the best, wrestling mind in the business. He just gets it. He understands fans love chaos, and he
yep,
brings them chaos. Brock Lesnar. I don't think Brock Lesnar would be as big as he was without Paul Heyman there.
yep,
Just somebody to just big you up. So I love them putting Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns, but then Roman Reigns is also starting to get a voice of his own,
yep,
and just the whole situation with the Usos. I've been hearing rumors as well that Naomi could possibly join the bloodline. Being Jay Uso or Jimmy, I always forget which one,
yeah. Me
but
too.
she's Jay Uso's wife. So and or they bring their little brother up from NXT. I mean, that blood. You can go to so many directions with the bloodline right now. I love that they got the Usos and unified champions, man. I think right now the bloodline, they're actually like they jumped up there as one of the best factions to ever be formed in the wrestling business.
I
I
think
agree
that,
with
go ahead, Dad.
I agree with what he said 100%.
Well, I was going to ask, I think that the younger brother, that Sequoia, I think
Sequoia, yeah,
he's going to be a big star. I really like him.
Yep,
he
With
looks
him,
they look so much
him,
like Rikishi.
yeah, with him and that Braun Breaker, both man, you have two guys I think could be real big stars up in W.
Yeah, Braun Breaker's nice. That's Rick Steiner's son, right?
yep,
Yep,
yeah. I'll tell you another one, Chris, is that
yeah,
Carmelo
Carmelo
Hayes.
Hayes.
He's got all kinds of talent. I know Shawn Michaels thinks the world of him too. So I think he's getting a lot of good advice. So they've got a lot of young guys in NXT that, and we were just talking about the women this last week. 2 weeks ago they featured 15 women during the
Mm.
show. This week they featured 14 women. I don't think they're worried about Sasha Banks. I'm not that I don't like Sasha Banks. I do, and I think there's been some trouble with the push. But some of that could go back to some of the. They're saying all this don't stem from all of what happened with the tag team title. A lot of people are saying this stems from she lost her spot at this last WrestleMania to Ronda Rousey.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's they say a lot of that's the issue too. So
yeah. She
No,
was mad, but it's like, what can you get mad at? Ronda Rousey's a big draw. She's a,
yeah,
she's always going to be a big draw just because people have seen her fight for real. They know she can really fight.
yeah,
So she's already proven that she can, hold herself, hold her own in the ring in the octagon. So I think it's always going to be intrigued with that. Same as Brock Lesnar. I think
yep,
his prestige went more to the moon once he actually wrestled in UFC, became
yep,
the heavyweight champion in UFC. They're like, oh, this dude is for real. Like he
yep,
really is a freak of nature. So I,
yep,
I think always when you fight people in real life, your prestige is always gonna even Chris CM Punk, even though he lost, but people gave him credit that he went to go fight.
yep.
yeah,
The-
and you can be mad. You can be mad at creative. You can do all that, but if you choose to walk out the way you did,
Yeah.
there's consequences. And I don't care if you're a mega star or if you're one of us. If we don't like the way our boss is treating us at work, and we just walk out, there's gonna be
hmm
consequences. We don't have a damn job no more.
Yeah. Never burn bridges, man. I mean, I understand you get mad, but you got to remember WWE is a billion-dollar company, and billion-dollar companies usually have a lot of pull and a lot of plug, as I like to call it. So you
And
got
you
to
made
be
a lot of
careful
money.
in burning those bridges.
You made a lot of money at that company as well. Like,
Yes, you do. Yes,
yeah.
you do. Become a household name. You don't get to have roles in the Mandalorian without the WWE.
Well, and that's something that some of these guys forget. You brought up, and I don't think he's forgot it. Brian Danielson, he didn't forget it because the way he left the company, I thought he left the right way. Moxley left the
hmm
right way. Moxley said a lot of bad things, but bottom line is Moxley, Daniel Bryan, none of them guys would have got the money they got at AEW if they wouldn't have been in WWE.
hmm
They wouldn't have got those paydays. CM Punk, if CM Punk would have just been in Ring of Honor, that's all he would have been in. He wouldn't
hmm
have got the money he got with AEW, but if he hadn't been in WWE.
Yeah.
You know.
Not to mention the WWE gave CM Punk that creative, spotlight. Because I know you're infamous for the pipe bomb, but how many wrestling companies would sit there and let you just demean them? You
Yep.
know, Vince McMahon always out there. He truly believes any publicity is good publicity. As long as you're talking about the WWE, you're
Yep.
talking about
But
it. That's a smart man. Man, I would love to sit at a dinner table with Vince McMahon and just pick his brain.
oh
Because,
yeah.
I was watching him on the Paul McAfee podcast and to actually see the human side of Vince McMahon. But even with seeing the human side, you realize how much of a machine
Yep.
he is by
He is.
himself.
still squatting 1,000 pounds, dude, or deadlifting 1,000 pounds. I mean,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I agree with you. That Pat McAfee interview was great because it did show a human. It showed people that hadn't seen a human side of him. That side because don't really ever get to see that. And I thought that interview was awesome. I couldn't believe it was as long as it was. I couldn't believe he sat there for like an hour and a half with McAfee, but it was awesome interview.
He wouldn't be where he's at today if he didn't run it like a business. He runs it like a business, and sometimes that's going to piss people off. Sometimes you make hard decisions. Uh, some people may think they're bad decisions, but the buck stops with him. He takes all the heat. I mean, the dude's the man. I mean, good or bad. I mean, he's had to take it. So and the last quarter they made what $343 million or last quarter. They're So I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I think if AEW ran a little bit more like a business, I think that they would be further ahead than what they are right
Yeah, well, I think the biggest problem is Kahn worries so much about the WWE.
now. Worries about WWE and he worries about pleasing the fans too much. So sometimes you can worry about pleasing you got to do what's right for the business. Okay,
Well,
Chris, I'm gonna go ahead and go on with this AEW. Next
yeah,
was a three-way match with Ricky Starks, Swerve Strickland, and Jungle Boy. I'm a fan of all three. It was decent, little sloppy at times. Love Swerve Strickland, I always did. I that's one guy I don't understand why WWE got rid of. And Strickland actually got the victory. So in that match. It was decent. Then you had the Owen Hart Tournament Women's Semifinal, Britt Baker and Toni Storm. Britt Baker got the win. She moves to the final of that tournament. Really slow moving match. The timing was just off. We go to some of the independents and we talk about sometimes some of the matches, we see how slow they move and like they're thinking. Both people are thinking while they're doing it instead of just doing it. And that's what that match was in a lot of ways. And then from there we had the Owens Hart men's semifinal, Samoa Joe and Kyle O'Reilly. I thought it was a really good match. I thought it was really good. Samoa Joe won that match and moves on to the finals. I thought Dynamite was a decent show. Kind of like Raw. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was decent.
Yeah, well, I saw all of it was decent. I didn't see all of it. I did see that match you're talking about, that Starks match. It did look like they were thinking too much. You could tell it looked like they were slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
You see that sometimes. The nerves can kick in, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't catch Dynamite, man. I was watching the Celtics blow that lead.
Yeah. Well, see that. Oh. I'm interested. Before we go to SmackDown here and review it, I'm interested to see what since Boston lost last night, what Kahn's going to do, because he was so worried about that, and he's got that pay-per-view Sunday night, and he's like, I don't know if the dude does cocaine or what the dude does, but he put out a message, and these guys from Busted Open, I'm on their site, and these people were talking, and the guy said, does anybody understand this message at all? You guys should need to get online and see if you can find a message. It didn't make any sense. He talked about doing the pre-show and then not doing a show till after the Boston Celtics game was over, and then doing the show. So like having like a 3-hour delay before you do the show, like maybe starting the show, the pay-per-view at 11 o'clock at night on Sunday night.
If he moves that pay-per-view to after that playoff game, he will lose so many people watching it. You try to do it at 11, you try to do it at midnight on a Sunday night.
Yep.
That game won't
end at least 11, but you ain't got that pool. Yeah.
Dude, crazy. Just put on your event and do the best you can. I mean, that's the way it is. Okay, going to SmackDown last night, the show opened with the Usos in the ring, and they did pretty good. They kind of did a promo where they act like that they were almost turned babyface in a way, and then of course all of a sudden they tricked the fans. Even got some. You could tell some of the fans. They actually got some of the fans.
Yeah.
I knew who they were going, but they definitely got some of the fans. And then Nakamura came out and wanted to challenge the Usos. Said he had a tag team partner, and Riddle came out. And I thought it was a decent opening segment. They're putting a lot of stock in Riddle right now. He helped open both shows, Raw and SmackDown, this last week. So I'm glad to see Riddle get that push, get that opportunity. I'm glad Nakamura is back out there. And the Usos, I think, is great. I think before it's all over with, they'll go down as one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yes, sir.
I think it's really good. From there, we had see what was the next match. We had supposed to have Ronda Rousey against Raquel Rodriguez, and they had a brief match, couple minutes, and had interference from Shayna Baszler and Natalya, and so that match ended up being thrown out, and they ended up having a tag team match with Rousey and Rodriguez against Baszler and Natalya, which Rousey and Rodriguez won. It was an okay match, decent. Next, we had Gunther and his tag team partner take on Ricochet and Drew Gulak, and Drew Gulak took the pin there. I think they're doing something with Ricochet and that'll be interesting. Gunther's a man. I think he'll be a huge star. And then we had from there, Los Luthorios defeated Jinder Mahal and Shanky. And Jinder Mahal came out, and looks like the 7-foot Shanky's going to turn babyface. He's out there dancing to the fans and everything, so looks like he may be turning babyface.
He was getting his groove on.
Yeah, he was getting his groove on. He definitely was. And then in the main event, we had the New Day and Drew McIntyre against Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch, which the New Day got the victory. I thought it was a good match. I thought the show was pretty good. I thought it was a fun show. I thought it was a pretty fun show. If I was giving out my weekly winner this week, it was tough because I thought all 4 shows were pretty even. I guess I'd give the slight edge to SmackDown over NXT this week.
I'm reading this about Kahn. Has he lost his damn mind?
What is it?
He says, I'll be able to manage the night, kind of manage the timing and the pace of the evening. I'll make sure that we don't send that big main event fight, that world title fight, and some other great action to. I'm going to hold it back until after the game is over, even if it goes to overtime. We've talked to our pay-per-view providers all over the country and all over the world. We don't have a heart out. They're going to stick with us. It's a holiday weekend, and we're going to have a good time here in AEW. So he's talking about starting the pay-per-view at normal time. And then once they get to a certain point, their bigger matches, they're going to delay them until after the game is over. How are you going to do that?
He's nuts. Just put your show on.
They're gonna put the game up on a Titantron.
That makes them just run your show like normal. You're not going to lose as many people as he thinks. Your diehard wrestling fans are going to choose to watch your AEW over the NBA game. You might lose a few people that are Boston Celtics fans or that are Miami Heat fans, but they'll go back and watch it. It's not like they're not going. You might not get that pay-per-view buy, but it's not going to kill your event. You're going to hurt your event more trying to do something like that. Moving it
Not
around.
to mention, this the new age of technology. People will watch both.
Yeah.
Well, what would be smarter if he really wants to move it? Why not just start it at, instead of starting at 8? Why not start it at 10? 9 or 9:30, and your main event matches will be on after that anyway.
Yeah, or start it a little bit earlier. That's a Sunday. Started at 5 or 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening, and have it ended right before the game comes on.
The game comes on at 8:30. That pay-per-view is going to go 4 or 5 hours, Chris.
It's going to go 4 or 5 hours.
Yep.
It's going to be longer than that if he delays it.
That's for sure.
It's going to be like 8 hours because the tip-off won't be till after 8:30 for the Boston game. It won't end till 11:30, 11:45.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say if you start it at 9, you shouldn't get to your main event matches till about midnight.
Yeah, I don't know. This article was 2 days ago, so I don't know if he said anything else about it since then.
That was what I was talking about. I think he's on cocaine myself.
The way he worded it, during some of this article, it's like, yeah, it didn't make much sense.
Well, what he was making reference to a Manny Pacquiao fight that happened 10, 15 years ago. But he didn't say that, but that's one of the things he was making reference to about something that happened 10 or 15 years ago.
Well, the other thing is, since we're talking about Tony Khan for a minute, and then he wants to try to take a shot at WWE for moving one of their events. They moved the event where they were trying to sell like 25,000 tickets. They sold like 17,000 for it or something like that.
Yeah.
So they moved it to a smaller arena. And he's taking shots at them, and they can't even fill up an arena that was like 10,000 seats.
Well, a guy on that Busted Open site I look at today, they was talking about that, making fun of Kahn because Wednesday night at Dynamite, they only sold about 4,500 tickets in a venue that was set up for about 6,000. And then it showed that they put a bunch of tickets on sale for $9 tickets and still couldn't sell out. They showed the venue and showed the $9 seat. And then they were talking about how can he make fun? He couldn't even sell out Dynamite on Wednesday night. 6,000 seats before your big pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And they were making fun of him. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how are you gonna make fun of them when you're not selling out your events either? It's like, dude, you need to think about what you're saying. You make yourself look bad.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Chris, let's talk a little bit about Double Nothing. Preview it just a little bit. I didn't write down all the matches because there's about 11, 12 matches. Of course, I'm sure the main event's going to be CM Punk and Hangman Page, I would assume. I'll be honest. I think the match will be good. I haven't been the hype for the match. It's been kind of weird. It looks like Punk acts like it's his business and he's trying to get the belt. Hangman acts like he's pissed off and trying to protect AEW from CM Punk. So I don't know who they're going to. A lot of people think he's going to get the belt. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think Punk needs the belt. I think you leave it on Hangman. I already think you've done his championship reign a little longer anyway. But it should be a pretty good match. I don't think CM Punk is the same in the ring as he used to be. He's still good, but he's not in his prime like he was 6 or 8 years ago where he could really go. But I'd like to see Hangman Page keep the title.
I think this will be a great match though. Just because I got faith in Hangman. CM Punk is not the same, but he can still hold his own in the wrestling ring. But Hangman is great. And I think that a lot of that has to do with that New Japan experience because I like to call that real wrestling over there. But I think it's going to be a hell of a match. I don't think CM Punk necessarily needs the title, but I think they're going to still give it to him.
Yeah, I got a feeling they're going to give it to him too. Next match, the Hardy Boys and the Young Bucks. How you guys feeling about that match?
The Young Bucks should win.
I would think so. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just kind of, I love it. Like, I feel like nostalgia works when it's not too often. But I think you're going to just see that going forward because of the way technology has advanced. But, you're going to see a lot of the older wrestlers still wrestling kind of on a full-time basis in the new world. But I don't think, I think the Hardys have proven enough. We know they're one of the greatest tag teams ever. I think that could do wonders for the Young Bucks because the Young Bucks can win this match and then get into an amazing storyline where maybe they go on a run winning titles from different companies since it's an open door policy in AEW. So that's just something I think. I like the Young Bucks actually, man. I've been a fan of them since the Bullet Club. Like the Young Bucks are nice. I think they put on some great matches. They have some moves to this day. You'd be like, normal people shouldn't be able to do that and not hurt anybody.
They're having 11 matches on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's a big pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's their WrestleMania.
But it's 3 years. It's a 3-year anniversary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good match. Yeah, I think the Young Bucks will win. I would assume, unless they're just wanting for that nostalgia reason, maybe to give the Hardy Boys maybe a crack and have one more title reign. I don't know, but I don't see why they would need it. They've proven all they need to prove. I agree with you. And honestly, the Bucks don't need belts either. I mean, people want to see the Bucks. So I mean, you can have them go on a run, but it's not needed. I mean, just their names alone, the fans are going to go see the Bucks. So, next match I had, and I'll be honest with you guys, this other match I could care less about, and I hate to say that because especially because Bryan Danielson is one of my favorite. But you got the Jericho Appreciation Society against the Blackpool Combat Club and Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston. Jericho Appreciation Society just ain't done it for me so far.
No, and I'm a big Jericho fan, but I haven't been able to get into it. Man, I think this match is overbooked. I think it's overbooked. You have too many guys and too many stars in it for one. You don't need that many guys in that match. I think they overbooked it. I think if it would just been like Jericho and against the Blackpool Combat Club would have been all right. It still wouldn't have probably been the greatest because, like I said, I ain't got behind the Jericho thing. But I think adding another 3 guys in it just overbooks it, makes it a little. It's going to be a little too congested for my liking.
Yeah,
I mean, they might surprise me, but just going into it, I just think I think it was overbooked.
And then the next 2 matches.
What do you think, Rob, about that match?
You know what? I agree with both of you. Um, the Jericho Appreciation Club, the inner circle was so fresh to me, and I just think they're a bunch of inner circle rejects. I agree. I don't really care too much about this match. It can go either way. I do like William Regal with Brian Danielson and John Moxley, but I think they should have watered it down with this Eddie Kingston. Let them dudes run destruction, but don't try to appease too much of the fans when you take away what you're actually trying to get out of this group, which is a group that causes brutality. Don't water them down. So I don't really care about this match. I hope let Eddie Kingston go on. I honestly think Eddie Kingston should go on a little single run. It kind of gives you that Eddie Guerrero feel. The crowd love him. They always chant his name. I think if maybe put him in the singles run, at least get him in the TNT title team. And you can actually do a lot with Eddie Kingston. So I think this match is kind of just thrown in there. They don't really know what to do right now with these guys because they got too many guys and too many storylines going on. So I don't care about this match either way.
Okay, the next match I had was Jurassic Express putting the belts on the line against Team Taz and Swerve and Keith Lee. Which I'm a huge Swerve and Keith Lee fan. Keith Lee was at one time was probably my favorite wrestler. I'm hoping for big things for him. I still ain't been real impressed with his AEW run either. We'll see how it goes. What do you think, Chris?
I think it'll be pretty good. I like Keith Lee. I wish they would use Keith with. I didn't agree with the way that AEW brought Keith Lee in. I thought they could have used the star power that he had when he was in NXT. They could really use that more to their advantage when they brought him in.
Well, they brought him in.
Push. But I didn't understand why WWE didn't give him a push either. So I just don't understand that. Other than I understand WWE wanted them to lose a little bit of weight, if I remember correctly, when they want them to lose some weight.
Yeah, it was just Vince didn't see it in him. I think more than anything, and it's his company. I don't agree with it. I think Keith Lee could have been a massive star. I think Swerve and Keith Lee is a massive miss for WWE. I think both of them could have been huge stars, especially Keith Lee. And I love. I mean, I think Swerve is different. I think Keith Lee is different. I think they're a cut above. If I was AEW right now, I'd put the belts on both of them. Jurassic Express. I don't know that they really ain't done a lot for me. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not putting them down at all. I'm not saying they're not good performers. They are. But it just really ain't done it for me.
Well, I think they've had their run, and it's time to put the belts on somebody else.
Yeah, Tony, I agree. I think Jurassic Express is something for the immature audience. The kids and things like that. They had their fun with it. They sing their jiggle with their song. But I think, if you want to get that AEW tag team title serious, putting the titles on Swerve and Keith Lee, the Limitless one, man, you got something brewing there. You got something because I love the fact that they brought over my guy. Oh my God, I can't think of the tag team name right there. But the real tag team, Dash and FTR. I think they were FTR in WWE. I love the fact that they brought them over there. Like those guys they're good, and I like the fact that they're tag team champions. I believe in Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor and Triple A also.
Yeah. So I think Keith Lee and Swerve will be a nice addition to that tag team scene, and you got some great future matches there. There's gonna be some hard hitting matches.
Yep. Yeah, I think they're wanting to build Jungle Boy into a single star. And I just don't see it. I don't see Jungle Boy. I mean, he can do moves, but that's all they are. And moves are great, but you got to have other things with it. And I just don't see it in him. and I could be entirely wrong because I didn't see it. I didn't see it, and Chris, you're gonna have to help me out with a couple of the names.
Orange Cassidy.
I didn't see it in Orange Cassidy at first. I thought it was a big joke. I didn't like it, and I became sort of a fan of his. And then the other one, I didn't get Darby Allin.
Darby Allin.
Didn't get him at all. And I became a fan of his. I gave it time,
Darby.
and I became a fan of Darby. I didn't get it at first.
Yeah. And that's one of the things too. I'm glad you brought that up though, because that's great too. That's a great segue into what we were talking about as far as AEW developing their young talent that they already have. I was like you as well. Orange Cassidy, I was like, oh, this is a funny gimmick, but how serious of a wrestler is he? Same thing with Darby Allin. Okay, this is the goth kid. You see his darkness and everything. But then you actually give these guys a chance to develop their stories, and now you look up and they have actual real fans. It's amazing what you can do when you develop your talent.
And honestly, though, Darby, I think, could be further along than he is because he was really moving up.
Yeah.
When you run in Bryan Danielson and some of these other guys, he took a little step back, and definitely Orange Cassidy's took a step back. He was up there, and he's definitely. I mean, because you bring all this talent in, somebody's got to move down, and those guys have moved down. I think, in a way, that's bad for the company.
Yeah,
right, you start your growth.
They're bringing too many people in.
Yeah, too many people that people already know.
He gets so worried about getting them people from WWE that you don't need all of them.
Yeah, I think that was the downfall of WCW. You look at WCW, they had their own, niche. But then, you bringing all these WWE guys to join the NWO, and then you just overstock the NWO with just everybody that you want to get some TV time, and then you oversaturate the product.
Well, you had too many guys with creative control that had Bischoff's ear and had all the ideas that was all benefiting themselves. And instead of pushing guys like Jericho and Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko's and those guys,
Rey Mysterio,
pushing them guys and getting them over more instead of just letting them go to a certain plateau and then knocking them back down.
The cruiserweight division was carrying WCW back in that
day. That
cruiserweight
division was, I'm glad you, La Parka, Ultimo Dragon, they had what was my boy named Psychosis?
I know people don't like saying his name, but Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit was great.
Yeah.
Dean Malenko, the man of 1,000 homes. You know what I'm saying? Like
Eddie and Chavo. I mean,
you brought up a great name and don't get mentioned enough. Ultimo Dragon is fantastic.
Ultimo Dragon was my guy, man.
Fantastic. Okay, one more match, guys. MJF and Wardlow. How do you think this is gonna go?
They should have MJF win. I'm sorry. I love MJF. He's the villain that AEW needs. Like a lot of people didn't like Triple H, but he was the villain that you love to hate. You know what I mean? And I love to hate MJF. I think he's a little snob. He's hilarious. I love the fact that he doesn't care about winning clean. He just wants to win. So I honestly, you build up Wardlow. You've been building him up through the weeks. I mean, I saw the last episode when he was in the cage. I mean, the guy breaks off the handcuffs. He gives it to Sean Spears, gives it to all the security team. But then you have MJF winning in the end anyway. I just love that story.
Yeah. I think it would be good for MJF to win. But then how do you because this is supposed to be the match where Wardlow would get out of his contract with MJF. So if he loses, how are you going to get him out of his contract? You got to have another match?
Maybe you do a double or nothing and say, okay, if you win the next match, you get the contract in the AEW ring.
You could put an AEW contract up on a ladder match or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I know they're gonna have Wardlow win just to get him out of the contract. I do want to see Wardlow get a push, but I think he still has some developing to do. To me. he still has some developing to do. And I think that was the problem with Braun Strowman. You knew that he was eventually going to get a push. But I think when you push these guys too fast and they can't really, I want to see you have a real wrestling match. These big guys should watch film of guys like The Undertaker to see how to wrestle as a big man, to be able to hold your own because, all those 5-minute squash matches are not going to work with you as a champion.
We hadn't talked about the Samoa Joe match.
No, I didn't have it down. Go ahead.
Samoa Joe and Adam Cole.
Adam Cole. I'd say
That
Adam Cole.
Be a great match. Yeah.
Adam Cole's going to win that. They're going to push Adam. They got to get a way to push Adam Cole. Matter of fact, I think Adam Cole wins the Owen Hart thing, and I think Britt Baker's going to win the Owen Hart thing, so they can both say they're a couple, and they both win the Owen Hart thing.
That should happen. That's beautiful.
A lot of people think Ruby Soho is going to win. I don't think. I think Britt Baker's going to win.
I'd like to see Ruby win it just because she's an Indiana native. So she was actually trained here in Indiana at the School of Rock by Billy Rock.
You know what? I love Ruby Soho, but I gotta agree with Tony, man. I think Britt Baker and Adam Cole, two of the hottest things going right now in wrestling. You got to make sure you put the B and D. Britt Baker, she's nice. I love her personality. I love her mic skills. I love the way she gets in the ring. But she's brutal. And when she was holding her own in those hardcore matches, showing that she can really wrestle, and she's really about that action in wrestling, I think that really brought a different light to her, where people start taking Britt Baker for real.
Yeah, it definitely helped. That whole hardcore stuff helped her. I still don't think she's super great in the ring as far as technician. I think she's decent, but her mic skills are fantastic, and that's what's brought her to to me, she's the number one woman in AEW, in my opinion, because of her mic skills.
Do you think AEW's has pushed Adam Cole the right way since he's been over there? To me, it's taking him too long to get. I don't know. It just seems like he should be ahead. He should be higher up in AEW than what he is right now.
I think there's a reason for that. I think Tony Khan worries about what the fans think, and he don't want to. And I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's right. But I think in Tony Khan's mind, he don't want to push Adam Cole too far because he was NXT. He was WWE. So if Adam Cole came over there and just killed everybody and won the belt, Daniel Bryan. If some people think Daniel Bryan should have got the title, but he don't want really WWE guys to hold their belts that much. Look at the I can't think of his name, Miro. He came over and he was doing a video game gimmick or whatever he was doing, which was ridiculous. And then finally they pushed him and he was doing great, and then he got injured, and now he's doing acting. So I don't know what's going on with that. He's going to be in a CBS TV show. So, but I think he tries to be careful how he pushes those guys because I think he worries too much about the fans. I think he needs to work again. I think he needs to run it more like a business.
Yeah, I think I want to see Adam Cole eventually get the title. To me personally, besides John Moxley, I think his debut was one of those times I got really excited. I was up there doing, boo, I do the whole little stick with Adam Cole, man. He's one of those wrestlers. He has it all. He has great mic skills. He can definitely hold his own in the ring. I mean, he's one of those superb wrestlers to me. I've seen him have some great matches. He got the swagger. He got the look. He got the charisma. I mean, the whole thing with him in the Undisputed Era, how they're bringing, kind of merging that with the Bullet Club, because it shows both aspects of his life. And wherever he goes, he's a leader. So I just think Adam Cole, I really compare him to Shawn Michaels to me. He has that swag. When Shawn Michaels started really finding his groove in wrestling, after he, separated from Margie Jannetty and became the Heartbreak Kid, he started to find his swagger. And I just think Adam Cole has that. Like he's it. You know how people say you got that it factor? He's one of those guys. Like even if he doesn't have the title, he's a big name. But eventually, you're gonna have no choice but to put the title on.
Yeah, the only really knock you can say on Adam Cole is his size. He's a little small. Other than that,
Yeah, but even with that,
other than that,
and
you
I
can't really.
believe that when you have that athleticism, you can make up for that. Like Shawn Michaels wasn't particularly a big guy,
Nope.
but if you looked at what he can do in the ring and that spunk and that, I think of that one match with Psycho Sid in WrestleMania, no Royal Rumble '97, and he carried that because Psycho Sid wasn't really a great wrestler.
No, he's a
But they
brawler.
had a great freaking match. You know what I'm saying? He held it wrong. Because Shawn Michaels could just wrestle a mop
Well,
and
that's
have
how
a
they,
great match.
that's what made, well, that's everything made Sean great. He could wrestle. It didn't matter what the size of a guy was or anything.
Yeah.
He could wrestle. He could work with anybody.
Oh man, I think he doesn't get enough credit in this wrestling business. I mean, he really was the showstopper. You know what I mean? Like Shawn Michaels, especially. I know people think it's DX and Triple H, but he made DX popular. Shawn Michaels did, being such an asshole.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels is popular among some of the wrestlers, and they know how great he is. But I think what held him back just a little bit as far as, to me, you could say he's the greatest of all time, and I don't think that's all to be argued. But I could understand somebody saying that. I wouldn't have a problem if somebody said, "Hey, Shawn Michaels is the greatest of all time." I would say, "Okay, definitely, could be." But the only thing was that, and he's even said it behind the scenes, especially in the '90s, he was a really big dick. He was an asshole.
Yeah.
And that I think that hurts him a little bit. You talk to Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, all them dudes in NXT, they rave about Shawn Michaels and what they learned from him.
Oh, I bet, man. You talk them the game,
Well, look what Shawn Michaels and Triple H had going there in NXT.
Yeah.
With their two wrestling minds, man. The black and gold, man. It was awesome. That was the brand to watch.
It was.
It was the best. It was the best show on TV. It really was.
If you were a wrestling fan and like seeing hard hitting wrestling, that was the brand to watch.
Okay. Yes, it was. And it was like they debuted like lit things. You know what I'm saying? Because especially too, when you saw them debut on the big show, and you see the Nakamura show up, and you see I'm so disappointed in how they've done Shinsuke so far, but I'm pretty sure they hopefully understand what they got with their cat. But when you saw people make their debuts on the black and gold, you was like excited because you know how the black and gold got down.
Yep.
Remember when they all showed up and beat up everybody in Survivor Series before the Survivor Series went? You were excited, like, oh snap! Now it just but Jay, I used to say business is picked up. Oh man, it was great talking wrestling with you guys, man.
Another thing I wanted to talk about before we get out of here is Gable Stevenson's talking about coming back to college and going after another national college championship.
I've seen that.
That's surprising. I figured he was going to start his WWE career, but he's talking about going for another national title. And really, there's nobody in college that can beat him right now unless he makes a mistake and beats himself. There's nobody. And he's also a lot of people don't know this. He's also an Indiana native. He's from Portage, Indiana.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. And WWE just signed name, image, and likeness with Mason Parris, who's also an Indiana guy.
Yep.
Indiana's starting to get a lot of people up in the pro wrestling, and I'll tell you what, on the independent scene, and don't get me wrong, I haven't seen a lot of the independent scene out of the state of Indiana. But the state of Indiana has a lot of talent in the independent scene right now as well. Like I said, we cover a lot. We cover a lot of the independent scene. We go around live streaming shows, and there's some talent in Indiana right now in the independent scene as well.
Yep.
I like to see though. I don't blame Gabe. Gabe. I think he's good at what he does. That might actually work in his favor, continue building his prestige before he goes to the WWE, knowing exactly who he is and what he's accomplished. I mean, I didn't even know. I mean, WWE put me on the Kurt Angle because I'm not really a big Olympics guy. But actually going back and looking at this story, like, oh, this dude really did win with a broken freaking neck. So it kind of it builds that prestige. If you're already a world champion in another sport, and then you come into the wrestling industry, people will expect big things for you, and you kind of already put yourself up here with having a name for yourself. So, more power to him.
And what people don't understand, some people don't understand about Kurt Angle, when he broke his neck, that was at the Olympic trials, and he actually got back up and finished that match and won it to qualify for the Olympics.
Wow.
And he ended up breaking his neck how many more times, Chris? 3 or 4 more times?
I think it was like 4 times that he's broke his neck.
Yeah. Wow. He's injured it more when he was in WWE and kept wrestling. That's what he claims, which I don't know how it's medically possible, but he claims he was taking pain medicine. He was taking some of those pills, 50 or 60 pills a day.
You know what? I just thought he just had knee surgery on both knees, I think. So, I wish him a speedy recovery. But, I mean, you can tell. Look at the way that his posture. He's put himself through some pain.
Oh, yeah, he said he couldn't wrestle a match now, even if he wanted to. He said he don't have no strength anymore. He's lost all of his strength.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate the invite, Chris. I'm up here at my god baby's birthday party. So, definitely want to make some time for you guys. Tony, it's been a pleasure talking with you, my good sir.
Yeah, we have to
man. I would love to be back on here, man. Thank you so much. I've been begging Chris for this. So you got to get me on the wrestling show. I'm still a fan of the sport of the square circle. So
you can join us tomorrow night for a watch along if you want.
I'll definitely try to get on. I'll try to get on. I'm supposed to be out tomorrow for a barbecue, but I told you weekends I'm out here because I work so much during the week. Once the weekends come, I try to enjoy the sun, especially now. Chicago's finally starting to get some good weather. So, we've been freezing cold up here, man. We don't have the spring no more. We go from winter right to summer. Hey, but it's been a pleasure, guys, man. And if I don't get a chance to see you, I'll see you at the morning show and enjoy some good wrestling, fellas.
All right, see you later, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, brother.
All right, that's Rob Scott. You can find him at Rob's 2 Cents. He has a good show going there in Chicago. That's the first time I actually got to talk quite a bit of wrestling with him. So you can tell he's a fan of wrestling. As I say, you can tell he's a fan of wrestling.
How old is he? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him next time we talk to him. I would say he'll probably jump on a little bit tomorrow night. Since we did talk about that before we get out of here, this comes out Sunday morning, so hey, this evening we'll be live for the AEW or Double or Nothing.
Tomorrow evening.
Well, this don't come out till tomorrow morning.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that.
yeah, this come out Sunday morning, so it'll be Sunday evening. The AEW will be live at 8 p.m. Doing a live watch along reaction for that. You can find that on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at Gonzo Sports Room. It'll also be live on the Unscripted Facebook page as well. We're gonna do like a joint thing with them guys from over there. They're all some big wrestling fans as well. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to today's episode?
No, I think that's it, man.
Yeah, I think today was a pretty good episode.
Yep.
Once again, G.W.R. new episodes come out every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Keep an eye on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. For interviews, we are working on getting a few interviews lined up with some more wrestlers. Hopefully, if everything works out, we'll have Rachel Armstrong on here real soon as well. So be on the lookout for that. You can find it if you're a sports fan. We have a sports betting show 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And we also have a sports talk show that's more in the evening at Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're a sports fan, I want to thank everybody for joining us, and we will see you guys next week here at GWR.